So here we are at the Brilliant Stream World Headquarters in Mink Shoals, West Virginia, to record this wonderful West Virginia Beer Roads program that I know you're going to enjoy. If you didn't guess it from the music intro, we've gathered today for a special Oktoberfest 2023 show. So first I want to introduce my podcast partner who's with me as usual. It's Erin McCoy. Erin, are you ready for another big Oktoberfest show?
Absolutely. I am looking forward to it.
Also, again this year joining us is our special Oktoberfest program guest, homebrewer supreme, Christopher Brown from Charleston, West Virginia. Chris, welcome back to West Virginia Beer Roads.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad you picked me for this episode because Oktoberfest happens to be one of my favorite kind of beer. So glad to be back.
Okay. Guys, you gotta love the Oktoberfest beer style and the Oktoberfest themed festivals. It's a great autumn tradition. Has its roots in Munich, Germany, way back in the early 1800s, and the festivals spread worldwide along with the German-style beer.
The official Munich Oktoberfest always begins the latter part of September, and this year it's September 16th and runs through October 3rd. Here in America, we do it a little bit differently, though, don't we, Charles?
Yeah, we do.
When did you have your first Oktoberfest beer this year?
Well, I had mine probably mid-August. I know I thought it was earlier than I normally do. I just couldn't hold off. There were so many out there already, and I just did it.
Early bird.
What about you, Chris?
I thought I was early, but I had September 1st, the second that August was over. I went to the Drug Emporium and bought pretty much every one on the shelf.
Well, it looks like I'm the only one who this will be my first tasting today, so I'm very much looking forward to it.
Well, this year we don't have any of the official Munich Oktoberfest beers to taste, but we do have some very good ones from West Virginia and surrounding states, and also two from Bavaria, but those two aren't from the city of Munich.
Well, I want everybody to know that a beer can be an official Oktoberfest beer for West Virginia Beer Roads no matter where you're from, especially if it's produced by a West Virginia brewer.
Okay, guys, let's get started with tasting our first Oktoberfest beer today. Chris Brown, you're up.
All right, so we're going to start off with two Bavarian beers. The first one is Weihenstephaner's Fest beer. Second one is Eyinger Märzen. And there is a difference in between these two styles. They're both considered Oktoberfest. One's lighter, one's a little darker. And so we can actually already tell by looking at these that one's much lighter, one's a little more dark.
I mean, as far as color.
Right. Mm-hmm. It's got a little amber quality to it, and that's the Märzen style. The other is the more modern fest style beer,
fest style. Mm-hmm.
Which is the light golden, just a light golden beer.
Very golden. Mm-hmm. Both of which are quite clear visually, but very different in their colors for sure.
Yeah, very pretty beers.
Yeah. So they should taste different then?
Yeah. So just a little bit of history on it. Oktoberfest beers used to be brewed a little bit darker like the Märzen, but in the last 30, 40 years, they've kind of shifted in that fest over to a lighter beer called the Fest beer, which is a little bit lighter, not just color, but also when you drink it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. It's tastes like a beer. Very easy drinking.
Oh, yeah. Still dangerous, though, because they're both 5.8%, I believe.
Oh, exactly.
The same.
Interesting. Yeah, but they definitely have a very different aroma. I get a lot of breadiness with the Märzen, where a little more hops come out in the Fest beer for me. As far as just aroma, I haven't tasted it yet. But
yeah. And, of course, brewer to brewer, they do modify how much hop they put in, what hop combinations they put in, even though hops are not a feature traditionally of an Oktoberfest beer. They're really not supposed to. They have just enough hops to balance
it, right.
And not to give hop character so that you can say, oh, this is a particular hop,
Right.
That's not a thing the Germans do, at least not traditionally, although these are both traditional German beers. So how do you compare these two?
Well, right after Erin said that about the hops, I had just finished tasting both, and I do get more hop character in the Fest beer. The Märzen is much more toasty and more malty. This one's a tad more like hop character coming through with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a little more richness in the Märzen when compared to the Fest beer. It is interesting, though, as you said, it's the same ABV, but I don't get that when I taste them. It feels like the Fest beer absolutely should be a lighter ABV. So that can be surprising.
Oh, see, I was thinking it was just the opposite. I thought the Fest beer tasted stronger to me.
That's funny.
Well, anyway, who knows?
No,
I trust their
either way,
bottles.
they're both incredible.
They are both very
Yeah.
good and easy to drink, clean.
I mean, I think when I was at the Eyinger Brewery over in Germany, and I guess it's in Eying, Germany, still in Bavaria there, not too far from Munich. But the funny thing, when I happened to be there, was before Oktoberfest officially was beginning. But they had their Oktoberfest beers made. Well, in Germany, they make a light fest beer. And this Märzen style was mainly to ship to America.
not for the Oktoberfest.
So they're shifting straight to the Fest beer more now. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they're drinking, I guess, in Bavaria now. I mean, it's what everyone says, and certainly at Oktoberfest proper, which Eyinger's not a beer that goes to Oktoberfest because they're not a Munich brewery. But those Munich breweries are just making this lighter style now, and that's what they're selling. So that's what people want. I think you can still ask for, maybe get Märzen beers, but it's not common like it was 50 years ago when that's all they were, probably. Yeah.
Right.
The finish between the two, I think there's much more. Even like I said initially, when you taste it, I think this one is much sweeter. I get caramel. This one.
What's this one?
I'm sorry. The Märzen is much sweeter with caramel, and the Fest beer definitely more hop forward. I will though conclude that with, I think both of them equally finish as dry and are similar in body and mouthfeel. I think the Märzen is a little bit heavier as far as mouthfeel, but not heavy. I mean, it's still medium.
Right.
Easily.
It's just that toastiness that kind of throws it off.
It is.
Yeah, these are neither one heavy beers at all.
Yeah, neither.
I mean, they're very drinkable, quaffable kind of beers. Well, thanks, Chris, for that tasty presentation, leading us through the difference in the two styles that are common today in Oktoberfest beers. And we're going to make a quick turnaround now, and then we'll bring you right out to our next Oktoberfest lager. Okay, we're back for our second tasting. For this one, I've poured a beer that came from one of our neighboring states' brewers. This is Oktoberfest Märzen beer from Great Lakes Brewing in Cleveland, Ohio. It's a 6.5% ABV, so it's a good bit stronger than the German ones. Well, enough that you can measure it. And also, it's got a 20 IBU, so you can see it's got a little color and a little more color, I think, than what we saw on the German Märzen.
It's already darker
style.
than both, yeah.
Yes, noticeably more color for sure.
But that's Americans, man. We put more alcohol, we put more color in these beers, and that's our thing,
Yeah, we
so let's give it a
definitely do.
try and see what we think of the aromas
Sure.
and the taste. Yeah.
In the way of aroma, I'm not getting a ton of anything right off the bat.
Well, I think it's pretty cold right now.
Oh, it's pretty rich.
It is rich.
Yeah, much more so probably than those two German
Yeah,
beers.
more so, yes.
Yes. Definitely some more carbonation, I think, is lingering in the glass from in comparison to the German beers. Lots heavier. Definitely heavier body or thicker
I agree. Yeah.
mouthfeel for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, you definitely get some more body with this beer and more carbonation. So it's interesting. They've amped both of those up as well as the color.
Although I'm not getting as much caramel out of this one as I did with the German Märzen.
No, not as much. More toffee.
Yes.
I think
so too.
Yeah.
Sweeter.
And I would imagine, Chris, that comes from some of the other malts and character malts or
Yeah.
something they've added to the base grains.
Probably more of a caramel malt as opposed to Munich or Vienna.
Yeah, because like that first one we tasted, the Weinstefano was Weinstefano. I mean, was probably mostly all just Pilsner malt or something like that. Yeah, pretty much, I would guess. Yeah, so this one has definitely contrast with that one a lot.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah.
It does. I'm still getting a dry finish from it though, which it's as it should be, but not as much as the German beers we tasted.
I mean, in a
previously.
Märzen, probably doesn't have to be totally dry, right,
No.
Chris? I mean, it shouldn't be just. I mean, you can make them dry. I mean, I think you're right. Aaron, this one does come across a lot drier, but within the style Meritzen, it's not always just bone dry at all.
Right.
You know.
What's cool is that they come off dry, but then they still have that toasty, sweet toffee flavor, even though they come off dry, which is nice about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one, flavor wise, as I said, it's sweet and it is definitely malty.
Rich.
But aroma, I'm really not getting a lot from it.
Nah.
So why do you think that they put 6.5% ABV in this beer?
It's America.
like you said, Charles, we like to turn it up a notch. You know.
We do. We like to just add all kinds of things.
Yeah. But all in all, I find it's pretty good beer, you know.
Yeah.
It is.
It's a nice, drinkable beer from Great Lakes Brewing in Cleveland, Ohio.
It is.
So we'll do another magic turnaround, and then we'll be right back with our next Oktoberfest beer. Okay, we're back. Aaron has our next beer. Aaron, what are we drinking?
We are drinking Forest Fest, which is an Oktoberfest from Big Timber Brewing Company out of Elkins, West Virginia. And right away, this is very, very, very dark. A lot of good carbonation is coming through. When I say dark, I mean it's much deeper hue than an amber, almost leaning towards a light brown. Very rich aroma. Lots of maybe even toastiness, maybe a little coffee. I don't know if you guys are getting that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting something more than just the malt.
And more than just caramel. I feel like it may be coffee. Definitely a very interesting aroma.
I've already dived into tasting this, and it does have a coffee note to it. Very slight coffee note.
Yes.
So you nailed it with that.
Interesting.
And very toasty.
Yeah. And it's rich, but I don't think it's as rich as the Great Lakes.
I don't think it is as rich as the Great Lakes either.
It's a bit easy drink, more easier
to
drinking.
drink.
I mean, yeah.
But I think it feels heavier as far as a mouthfeel goes for me.
I think that's from the maltiness. I agree, though. But yeah.
Yeah, it would be, but I don't know. I kind of I put it on par with Great Lakes for me.
Yeah,
you know,
about the same.
I mean, as far as the body of the beer.
However, this one is less alcohol than the two Bavarian beers. 5.6.
Yes, so this one is a 5.6 ABV, and it does. From my palate, it seems like it ought to be a heavier or higher ABV, not heavier, but higher ABV.
Well, anyway, that's nice to see that Big Timber dialed this one in around the way the Germans do with their fest beers, or at least their Oktoberfest styles, the Meritzen styles. And it's a little darker than a traditional Meritzen would be, but tastes great.
It does taste great. It's got a little bit of a warmth. I feel like at the end it finishes warm. Maybe that's the alcohol coming out. I'm not sure. But do you guys, either one of you get that?
It might be my alcohol talking, but I get like a marshmallowy flavor.
A little sweet.
Yeah, towards the end, off the palate.
It's a little more earthy for me, but so Big Timber also, not only do they have Forest Fest as an Oktoberfest, but they also make Fest beer, which we do not have this evening, so we won't be tasting. But for our listeners, they do make both styles.
Yeah, and it's very much a blonde. I've certainly had it last year, and I'm not sure if it's out. I think it was coming out early September, so it may be out now too. This beer came out way back in probably
mid-August.
Yeah, mid to late August around the state. So Big Timber gets their beers out kind of like a lot of the people do now, earlier and earlier.
Yeah, this is balanced really well. I maybe have a touch of hop, but not enough to even.
Yeah, it's just the balance.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Quite easy to drink for me though. Certainly. It's rich and I'd be good.
Very nice beer.
Okay, well, we'll take a short turnaround and we'll be back with our next Oktoberfest beer.
I'm really surprised.
And here we are, West Virginia Beer Roads. Now, Chris Brown, brewer of renown. What's your next beer that you have for us?
I brought one of my favorite Oktoberfest beers this time. I brought AJ's Fest beer from Weather Ground Brewery. I actually spoke to Sam about this beer because sometimes the recipe tends to change. He told me this year he brewed this to be more of a traditional Märzen beer, but instead of using German malts, he used more local malts. Actually, Riverbend malts is where he got the malts for this beer. And also to mention, it says it's AJ's Fest beer, but Sam did describe it as a Märzen, so it's going to be a little more rich.
But that's the label that
than the Fest beer, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's America. I mean, we just tend to use different labels, and we're kind of liberal with the way we make our beers and describe our beers and what, traditional style we put on it or not. Doesn't matter. This is definitely a Märzen. I mean, whatever you call it.
It's a Märzen.
Yeah, you can look at it and see immediately it's a Märzen based on the color.
And it is great balance on this beer. I am digging it a lot.
Yeah, it's already perfect hop and malt profile. Not one's overtaking the other. It's not overly rich.
Yeah. I'd say they nailed this 2023 AJ's Fest beer. Very good.
Yeah,
it is
he
very,
also
very
told
toasty.
me this has been, he brewed this back in May, so.
Oh, so he lagered it.
Yeah, he did
for a
lager
length
this
of
for
time.
quite a while.
Very good.
Yeah, he did a great job on that. That's interesting because while in Germany the tradition was they'd lager them all summer, because they made them in the spring when it was still cool, and then they'd put them in the caves, and the beer would stay there, and they'd pull it out in September and drink it. But, most American brewers don't age lagers that long. Maybe 4 weeks for, a Märzen normally, something like that, extra lagering time. But this was several months.
Yeah. Usually it takes up a lot of tank space to hold a beer for that long.
Oh, I'm sure. Yes.
Yeah, I know in the past we've talked about one brewery we knew here right in Charleston. Bad Shepherd Beer Company did lager theirs, make it in the spring and lager it all summer.
4 months.
Yeah, and unfortunately they did not make a Oktoberfest lager this year for whatever reason.
It is unfortunate.
Because theirs is always a good one. But this one, holds up
this
to
one's
that
killer,
tradition. Yeah, it's killer.
I get kind of an earthy finish, not a front, but a little bit of an earthy, which is a positive attribute. I'm not saying that in a negative way, but it's not sweet like we've tasted in the previous ones.
Quick little beer lesson. A lot of these German beers, the Märzens and Fest beers, use noble hops, which are German hops. They'd be like Tettnang, and the most popular is like Hallertau.
Yep.
Not Matt. Sam did use Hallertau in this beer towards the end of the boil, which is probably why you're getting the earthiness. It's one of the characteristics.
That's neat. I like that, and it stands out. And it's very good. It's complimentary to the end of the beer.
I gotta find a 4-pack of this one.
And did you say the ABV already?
There's only one more batch coming here pretty soon. So if this comes out soon, go get it. If you find it, buy it, because there's only, I think, one more drop coming.
I saw on the internet that it was coming out. I guess it was last week. It was going to hit Charleston last week, so I guess it did. You found it.
It did.
It's out here in our market right now.
I'm sure it sells pretty quickly.
And I know the Big Timber came out even a week or two before that, so it's out in the market here. All these beers that we're tasting today are in the Charleston market because we bought them here, so we picked them right up off the shelf. That was on purpose, so people could, know that they could find these beers for sale retail. We didn't go with any that were like brewery only, like drafts.
No. Widely available retail. I'm sure you can get them at other retail, not just Charleston, but any bottle shop.
Yeah, in West Virginia.
Right, retail area in West Virginia, for sure. And again, what was the ABV on this?
6%. So it's right in between those Bavarian beers and then the other American ones we had.
Yeah, so this, they've amped it up a little bit, but not tremendously. Maybe a couple points anyway of the. This is nice.
Yeah, if you see this on the shelves, go get it.
Yeah, full body. Very good.
And we'll do another little quick turnaround and be back with our next Oktoberfest beer. And we're back. West Virginia Beer Road's Oktoberfest 2023 tasting. And our next beer here that I've just poured is Helltown Oktoberfest. Helltown Brewing is out of the Pittsburgh region, and it's new to southern West Virginia, although I'm not sure that maybe they've had it in other, like northern West Virginia before, but I know it's new in our market. It just came out. This particular beer appears to be Märzen style with the color.
It definitely does.
It's 6% ABV. What do you guys think?
Well, it's equivalent to what we just tasted with the AJ Fest beer as far as ABV goes. And really, as far as color goes, I think it's maybe a little bit lighter than what we just tasted, but
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
wheelhouse as far as a deep kind of amber color. Not quite brown, but definitely not copper.
Yeah, more caramelly to me.
Yeah, it's less rich than the previous ones we've
Certainly
had.
less rich. It's
lot
lighter.
of. As far as smelling, I don't notice a whole lot of aroma other than it's a little malty. But when I taste it, it's very
Yeah.
bready
It is.
and a little earthy.
Yeah, it's probably the hopping.
A lot of biscuity goodness going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, this is not a bad beer. I mean, I don't think I've ever drunk Helltown beers before.
I have not. This is my first.
I picked this up at the market because, hey, it was new and they had it on their Oktoberfest shelf and thought we'd give it a try.
I think Chris. I think you've maybe
this is
had.
the second time I've had this. Like I said,
Did
September
you have
1st.
it in cans
I did,
originally?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And how does it compare?
Of this one?
Yes, with this one compared to when you first had it.
Oh,
like
the same.
A few days ago.
I literally had it. Yeah. I had it with a bunch of other Oktoberfest, and this was just stood its ground. It's a really good beer.
Mm-hmm.
Not too rich, more bready than rich.
Mm-hmm.
You do get the herbs or the herbal notes from those hops, which
You do.
makes it well balanced. It's a solid beer.
But I get 0 hops on this.
It's
I mean,
6%,
it is
but
balanced
this
well.
could be dangerous because you would never know it's 6%.
Yeah, no, you could. There's not any
Yeah,
kind
you
of
would-
warmth
yeah.
from the alcohol.
Yeah,
No.
solid.
I do think that, given our beer lineup today, this one is a little on the lighter body side, but yet it's nicely balanced.
It is.
I'm impressed with this Helltown
Scary.
Oktoberfest.
I am surprised with this one also. It is quite good. Very, very easy to drink.
Thanks for coming to our market, Helltown.
And
Agreed.
we'll take another quick turnaround and be back with our next Oktoberfest beer. And we're back with our next Oktoberfest lager. This one is Barktoberfest.
Roof.
Barktoberfest. From
Bye.
Thirsty Dog Brewing in Akron, Ohio, one of our neighbors. And we like that Thirsty Dog. They make a lot of good beers, so let's see what their Oktoberfest is all about. Or their Barktoberfest. I'm sorry. There you go.
On the
go.
nose, they're definitely a little biscuity. Not overly, but somewhat.
Straight up off of the look of this, it's one of the lighter beers we've had.
It is.
Yeah, it's not as light as the Weinstefaner, Weinstefaner Fest beer, which is a pure Fest beer style. But this one, it's
A medium in the
got
range
a
of color.
A little bit of orange in their gold, so it's a little
Yeah. Leaning towards copper.
So first thing I notice is it's very light, obviously, because of the color, but the flavor
Is not light.
is not light.
It
It's
is
toasty.
really rich.
And that thing's got some flavor,
A lot
doesn't
of
it?
biscuits going on
and
there.
you get a little bit of, for me, I got a little bit of the alcohol in it too, I think, because it is a little bit lighter color.
Well, I forgot to even see what the ABV was.
It's
6%.
Oh, it's 6%.
Oh,
so
wow.
it's right in line with a number of the others.
It certainly has some great carbonation.
And 15 IBUs, so it's got a little less of
Less
the hops
bitters.
and less bitterness from the hops anyway. And I'd agree with that. It's not like, say, maybe AJ's Fest beer or some of the others that we had that had a little more hop presence, I think.
Right.
Yeah, there's definitely some bready notes though, and it's maybe a little bit estery on the finish. Either one of you picking that up?
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Just a tad.
Maybe a little apple.
I wonder what kind of hops they use. If they didn't use a German hop, that could be the thing. But
It
who's
could
to
be.
say?
It could be.
Well, I didn't read the label very closely, but the Thirsty Dog folks, Akron, Ohio, and we get a little bit of their beer in here, although not very much. I rarely see a variety of their beers, but it's nice that they sent their Oktoberfest beer.
Yeah.
It is, and this is another one of those that you could drink it and be very surprised with that ABV.
It looks like it would be okay to chug or drink a bunch
and
of
then
these.
it's like, whoa. Yeah.
It would creep up on you fast.
And I do get a little bit of that warmth again. I know that I mentioned with the Big Timber Forest Fest, a little bit of that alcohol, not in a bad way, but you certainly recognize it after you drink it.
Thirsty Dog Brewing Company. There you go, folks. Good beer. Mm-hmm. Again, we haven't had a bad beer. I don't think we ever do. But,
no, but it's great how different they've been.
Yeah.
No,
and trying them.
Did this a Märzen or a Fest beer?
Well,
have we decided?
We have not gotten there yet.
I think it's a little too malty to be a Fest beer.
I think so, too. I think it's more...
deceiving. Yeah, the color is a little more Fest beer.
It is a little lighter. But still not blonde, so it's not.
I think it's in between as far as color.
It might be.
Mm-hmm. I'm leaning more towards Märzen for this one, at least in my opinion.
Okay, you want to move on, guys? Ready to do another one?
Let's do it.
All right, we're going to do a quick turnaround, and we will be right back with our next Oktoberfest lager. And we're back now on West Virginia Beer Road's Oktoberfest 2023 tasting. We have a new beer here. Erin McCoy, what are we drinking?
We are drinking a collaboration Oktoberfest beer between Sierra Nevada Brewing Company and Caravita Brewery out of Hamburg, Germany.
Oh, that's cool. Hamburg, that's where the Beatles kind of got started. Remember that? You won't remember that. You weren't around.
I do like
Everybody knows the Beatles, Charles.
Yeah, but that's the Beatles spent a lot of time in Hamburg, you know, and when they got there before they became famous. Yeah, there you go.
I'm excited about this one. I'm really curious for us to get into this.
Let's hear about it. Tell me what's going on with this beer.
So what's definitely going on is this is very light,
clear.
And as Chris just said, it is beautifully
clear. Well,
clear.
they call it a fest beer, so it's lighter. It should be the gold.
They do call it a fest beer. This is though it's 6% ABV. It definitely has a deep golden color. I'm gonna see what I get. Oh, some grassy.
Yeah, this one
grassy aroma.
This does
earthy.
have more aroma than the others do. Mm-hmm. And also, I can see you through it.
It's super
it's
clear.
Perfectly clear.
I wanted to say that.
It's got a really light mouthfeel.
Well, they all should be perfectly clear, but I mean, we don't always, in America anyway, clear up our beers.
No, but it's
this one, Sierra Nevada cleared this beer up, though. You can read through this.
That's what I mean. I can see Erin through it.
Beautiful.
You absolutely can.
Okay, so first tasting notes.
Wait, let's back up. Color. It's lighter than we've had.
I think we said it was golden.
It is, but it's not as I wouldn't consider it like truly golden. I think there's a little
gold.
bit of amber in there.
Very little. Don't put it in front of your orange placemat.
Fair enough. All right. So I'm sorry, Chris. Go ahead.
We do.
I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
We have orange placemats here. All the beer looks orange, you know.
And an orange light.
But, an orange light. Oh, I forgot about that.
First thing I would say, the flavor of this, the first thing I get is hops.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Man, but I don't get a ton of hops.
No, it's there though. It's at the end.
I tell you, and that's been the controversy on this beer. Mm-hmm. Certainly, reading about it, you know that it has Cascade in a German beer, you know, or you can't put Cascade in an Oktoberfest beer,
right? And that is kind of, I think, the leading controversy on this particular collab is because it's German and a blend of American hops, which happens to be Cascade.
And we're drinking this Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest fest beer. Chris, it has, as we discussed, I think a second ago, Cascade hops.
Yeah.
But it also has 2 German hops. So go ahead, what are the German hops in here?
The German hops are Tettnang, which is one noble, and then another one's German Tradition, which is pretty much the German Hallertauer hop. They're noble, which give the spicy, earthy aromas, and then of course the Cascade is going to give you more of the grapefruit type of American aromas.
Yeah,
and I get that a lot in this beer. At the end of it,
the grapefruit.
Yeah, at the end. For some reason, I mean, I'm a hop head, so I can taste it quite a bit. So this is one of the most different Oktoberfest fest beer
Yeah.
I've ever had.
Yeah, and that makes
Yeah.
it, Aaron, that makes it controversial, right?
Yeah.
Well, absolutely makes it controversial, and people are definitely putting their opinions out there regarding this collaboration. I can't necessarily say I get grapefruit out of this. I definitely get a fruit.
Yeah. It's
But
a little
I can't-
fruitier than your
Sure.
traditionals.
But yes, as far as beer connoisseurs and this overall collab, it's certainly out there, and there's a lot of discussion.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, no, I really like it. I think they've made a great beer. Now, whether it's exactly traditional, no, it's
Yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah.
American.
And I was worried about this because this is the first one I've had, and when I saw that written up, I thought, well, this is fascinating. I want to study this beer a bit, and I'm so glad you brought it because, man, I'm enjoying it a lot.
It's very good.
I would think it's an easy drinking. What ABV did we say it was?
It's 6%.
6%. It's
It
an
is-
easy drinking
it is.
6%.
It is, and it's not heavy. I know we've tasted several others that were also 6%, and to me they were more filling. And I definitely said, oh, this feels more filling.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I mean, you just can't. I mean, I understand people saying you just can't put Cascade, which is a Pacific Northwest hop primarily, and it's a signature hop for Sierra Nevada, like in their pale ale and things like that. But I understand people saying you can't put that in a German Oktoberfest
Right.
beer because you should have all like either noble
Traditional
hops.
style.
Yeah, traditional
I
stuff.
mean, sure.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, but I'm telling you, if you're willing to like venture out, I mean, just enjoy a beer.
And if you're looking for just a traditional, obviously it's not going to be traditional because it's a
Right.
collab,
Yeah.
and that was the reason behind it. But the controversy that it's kind of put out there is interesting for me.
I think it's awesome.
It is. I mean,
Yeah.
sure it is. It gets people talking about beer and the different collaborations and styles and how things have evolved and changed with the original Oktoberfest beers, which is, part of the reason we do this with
That's
the
right.
tasting, to talk about what we're doing and what's changed.
Things
this is
evolve.
definitely a big change.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been drinking Oktoberfest for quite a while, and this is probably the first time I've had one like this nature of an Oktoberfest. So
You said you definitely had that recently. So
yeah,
any other notes to add to that based on?
I had like 4 out of 6 of the 6-pack. I mean, it's a good beer.
yeah,
If I wanted to go for more of a traditional beer, I obviously wouldn't choose this one. But if you like anything Sierra Nevada makes, their pale ale, anything like that, you're going to like this
Right.
beer. It's a really good Oktoberfest fest beer.
Yeah,
So.
it came about that Kehrvita brewery is Hamburg, which is way up north in Germany, and not certainly anywhere near Bavaria, where the traditional Oktoberfest beers come from.
Right.
But the reason they got together, the two breweries, is because the two of the brewmasters went to school together, 20 years ago, something like that.
I'm sure.
A long time
Had to be.
ago when they were, learning their brewing stuff, that somehow they got together so they knew each other. And this Kehrvita brewery has only been around for maybe a couple years, I think. I can't remember.
Wow.
I read something about it. It's a newer brewery, and it's also, a non-traditional brewery. They don't make the traditional just German beers. I mean, they're brewing outside the box in Germany, which is becoming more popular because of all the American beers that get shipped into Germany these
Right.
days. People are developing a taste for different hops and different kinds of beers, and not just the traditional. But anyway, it's really cool that that Sierra Nevada in the past, they've collaborated with more traditional German breweries to make their Oktoberfest collabs, and they've done a few in the past. And then they didn't do a few because of COVID and all that.
Sure.
Now they're starting up again, and it's really cool that they're embracing a young brewery in Germany.
Yeah,
It
it's awesome.
is. And kind of back to your story, if you kind of look into the history of this beer or this collab, not this beer because obviously it's new, but the collab, it will say that it's, quote, from Sierra Nevada's website, that this has been 20 years in the making. And I think that refers
That's
back to what
awesome,
Charles
yeah.
said with them being, they knew each other in brewing school and college, etc. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Check it out, try it. It's very drinkable.
Yeah, good beer, even better story. It's awesome.
And coming up on the calendar, we'll all be on the streets of Charleston's west side for Oktoberfest Festival that takes place on Saturday, September 30th. Erin, what is it that you enjoy about that festival?
I love all of the camaraderie and the variety and the contests and things that go on with participants as far as traditional German contests and like Stein holding and keg rolling and all of those things that people love to do. So I definitely am looking forward to that. What about you?
No, actually, speaking of all the contests, my wife and I did that, not this last year, but it doesn't matter when we did it, but we did. We won first place in sausage toss, which is awesome. I wiped out and ruined a pair of jeans with the keg rolls. And then I lost the Stein holding because some of those dudes definitely been in their backs. But all those contests are fun. Still never going to let it live down that I was the sausage toss champ. So Oktoberfest, something I look forward to every year. I'll definitely be going.
You're going to compete this year in the sausage toss.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't want to give my title up.
Yeah, all right. That's September 30th in Charleston, West Virginia, on the west side. And you'll likely find Oktoberfest celebrations in other towns and cities in our region, along with special beer-focused events in beer bars and certainly in breweries and brewery tap rooms. So if you have one in your area, we encourage you to support it.
Morgantown has one that's coming up that's really nice, too. Do it every year out the back of their brewery, which is
You mean
awesome.
Morgantown Brewing?
Yeah, Morgantown Brewing.
Yeah, and I think Morgantown Brewing will also be making a special Oktoberfest beer for that, from what I hear. Of course, they're known for making a lot of crazy beers, and especially
mainly sours.
Yeah, sours.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
But Morgantown Brewing, we love those guys.
We do, yeah.
Yeah. So, all right,
Support them all.
We have one more Oktoberfest lager that we're going to try this today, and let's pour that beer, and we'll be right back to talk about it. And we're back on West Virginia Beer Roads, Oktoberfest 2023. Chris Brown, you have our next beer and our final beer today. So what are we drinking?
So I'm glad that you brought this. I didn't, but I was excited to see this on the docket because this is Sam Adams Oktoberfest. And this happens to be the first beer that got me into craft brews.
Oh, no kidding.
Beer.
This is your first beer.
Once I had this, it was never turning back. Still one of my favorite Oktoberfest and beers of all time. It's a Märzen, so it's going to be very rich and malty. But surprisingly, it's only 5.3%, so it's insanely crushable.
It's very sweet.
Yeah, it's a good beer. So let me go ahead and have a little of this.
So let's recap this for a minute. So not only your first craft beer, but also your first Oktoberfest all in one?
Yes, both.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, I would say for someone who doesn't drink a lot of beer, this is the best beer to like dive into craft beers and Oktoberfest.
It is pretty malty, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. But if it's somebody new to craft beer, they might be a little turned off by that. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I think to be malty, it's really light and it's crushable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very clean.
It is crushable. It is very clean.
And I read the back label on this bottle, and it says, Oktoberfest. Malt brings so much to a great beer. That's why we developed a unique malt blend to provide a robust color and smooth, rich flavor.
That is true.
So
like you, we look forward to this tradition every year. And so, I think they've been making this beer, I couldn't guess how many
For a
years.
long time.
Oh, yeah, a long time.
Yeah.
And to address that color, it's very amber.
Crystal clear.
It is crystal clear, yes.
It's perfect Oktoberfest, honestly. Aside from the Bavarians and Germans, this is a really solid beer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting, though, that and I'm sure not just in America, but in other countries of the world that have embraced the German beer culture like we have, that every brewery that pops up wants to make an Oktoberfest, and they're going to slightly make it differently. They have different equipment.
Yeah.
They use different grains that are available, slightly different hops maybe. There's no one style, and I think that's what's important for people to understand is there isn't just an Oktoberfest. There's not the best. It's what you think's the best, and you got to try a lot of them because we found there are tons of them from West Virginia breweries, from our regional breweries, and certainly from national breweries and the German breweries.
Yeah, and they're all different. You go from the Bavarian brews into the craft West Virginia brews to the more commercial like Sam Adams. They're all different.
They are.
So the
all
variety
different.
and the range is crazy, even though it's only one, technically two categories.
They're not only different, but they've changed a lot over time. You know, they've moved from that Märzen to that fest beer style so much later, and
now we're even going into like Sierra Nevadas, which is
so much later in style, but just generally speaking, all around, when you bring in American brewers, they're going to do their thing, and they're going to just take the base and add things and change it the way that they see fit for their brewery. And it certainly changes a traditional style, which I think brings in some of that controversy we talked about with the Sierra Nevada collab. So in my opinion, it's definitely changed a lot, but not, as you said, in a bad way. It can be whatever Oktoberfest style that you like.
Yeah, I mean, you got to make your interpretation. You're a brewer, and you want to interpret it your way, and you use the ingredients you can get or that your mind tells you should use, but still, beer styles are important. And I'm not one that just says, "Oh, make anything and call it an Oktoberfest beer."
Right.
That would be ridiculous, in my opinion. But these guys, all the ones we've tried today, are not ones that have just thrown the book out and made a beer and put Oktoberfest on the label. These are beers that do have roots in those traditional German styles, and that's what is important, because that's where these kinds of beers, these lager beers, came from. Well, to sum up today's Oktoberfest tasting, we've had German beers. We've had one from Weihenstephaner, another one from Eyinger Brewery. We've had some West Virginia beers, one from Big Timber that we really liked, and also one from Weathered Ground Brewery in Coolidge that we thought was superior. We tasted beers from a few other states, including Helltown Brewing in Pennsylvania, Great Lakes Brewing in Ohio, also Thirsty Dog, wasn't it?
Yeah, Thirsty Dog
in Ohio as well.
Wait.
Yeah.
Oktoberfest.
Yeah, and also the kind of a traditional granddaddy American brewer, Samuel Adams from Boston, their beer, their Oktoberfest. So if you guys sum it up, any favorites, any differences that you want to describe?
Sure, I can go first.
Yeah, please do.
It's always good to go if you want to try like a true Märzen fest beer. Always go with the Germans, but also you should add in some of the craft beers from West Virginia and America too. AJ's, I brought the beer, so it's obviously my favorite, but the other ones are all really good. I can't say we had a bad beer today.
I agree.
If you want to do more rich, go with the Big Timber. If you want to go with like a little more hoppy or lighter, go with the Sierra Nevada. We've had really good beers. So thanks for having me, Charles. Yeah,
well, Chris Brown, we thank you for helping us again this year. Aaron McCoy, it's been another wonderful tribute to fall.
It has. Yeah. I love this.
But wait, before we leave, we got to see which ones you guys favored or liked a lot too.
But I do lean towards the West Virginia breweries, not because it's West Virginia, but those are the styles I'm the most used to, and I've drank the most of. So I definitely like the Weathered Ground AJ's Fest beer, and then the Big Timber Force Fest. I think those are probably my picks.
Charles?
Yeah, I think a sleeper today was that Helltown Oktoberfest.
Yeah, it was a sleeper.
I had never had their beers,
good.
and
it was really good.
I was very happy to drink that, but I kind of go with Aaron on the the AJ's Fest beer. And it's a beautiful beer. It's a beautiful version, like right down the middle of those Märzen styles,
right.
And the hopping was very nice on that. Mm-hmm. And then I was also very impressed because it was my first time to try the Oktoberfest Fest beer from Sierra Nevada this year, and that collab, I that's a nice beer. It's not traditional,
but controversial for sure.
Yeah, but it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
But,
beer.
well, yeah. I mean, Chris, thank you so much again for being with us on West Virginia Beer Roads. We very much appreciate it and look forward to the next time.
Again, thank you. Thanks, Charles.
This brings us to the close of another podcast. Remember, you can subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast host. Thank you for listening to West Virginia Beer Roads.
West Virginia Beer Roads is a production of BrilliantStream.com.